Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello people and welcome to the National League. I'm Judge Mo here with Tom, Jamie and Dan. Staffy will be joining us. Ashraf will be joining us in a bit. There's a lot of talking points today, so make sure to hit that like button if you are here now. Subscribe to the channel. I'm actually less than 40 subscribers away from 31,000 subscribers, so hit that like button. We're just starting the show. Your like button will push this show to new viewers. Unless you are selfish and you only want to watch this show by yourself, don't like the video. So hit that like button, people, if you are here. Trent, there is a lot of rumors about him leaving, staying. There is a rumors that we don't know if it's true about a meeting or something that they're trying to convince him. Should Liverpool keep Trent? Should Liverpool let him go after he is silent about it? Chelsea, with like there is a war or something going on between match-going fans and whatever sofa fans or whatever people call them, about the owners and about the manager and about this. But can the win yesterday kickstart their run in and they actually can start winning games to get the Champions League football that everyone needs at Chelsea? Arsenal, with Martinelli hitting the form now in the right time, they're going into the Champions League. They're giving up on the league, but still smashing teams like Ipswich and everything. Man United having their worst season since the 70s. Even Alex Ferguson's worst seasons were not like this. 16 losses, you know, battling the likes of West Ham, battling the likes of Wolves, battling the likes of Everton down there. Who is the race for the 17th spot? That is exactly what it is. They are in the race of the 17th spot, of course. Who's going to finish 17th? Spurs play Nottingham Forest today, and Man City win yesterday, a couple of days ago as well. So we'll talk about all of that. So hit that like button, if you're here. Subscribe to the channel, and let's just watch what Craig said about Trent yesterday. But that is the day before.
Arna saying that depends on the intensity of the game. Maybe 20 minutes is possible for Trent. Look, Arna, I'll save you time. None of us want to see the fucker. So tell him to spend those 20 minutes sitting in front of a camera and explaining to the fans what's going on. It doesn't even need to be high intensity, Arna, but just stick him on the bench. I don't care. Trent's Liverpool career should be on pause until he has the bottle to tell us what he's doing. And we don't need him at this point. The league's won. Let Conor Bradley play. What's the point? What's the point in Arne Slot playing Trent, let's say, from next week when Bradley's going to be the future if Trent's heading off? What benefit to Liverpool is that? None. It benefits Real Madrid and Trent. So with all due respect, fuck him. If he wants to stay at the club, brilliant, reintroduce him. If he doesn't have the balls to front up to the situation and be honest, why are we giving him the time of day to keep playing him? We don't need to. The future's going to be Conor Bradley. Let's look at the future. That's my take on it. And it's blunt because I believe the situation needs a bit of bluntness around it. I'm fed up of this pussyfooting around the Trent situation. He wants jam on both sides of his bread. Well, it's time to tell him, pick your side.
That's what Craig said, and he got the 20 minutes, and he scored the winner, actually. That was before the game, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And he scored the winner to give Liverpool 3 points yesterday. Brilliant goal by the left
Winner?
foot, of course.
Liverpool drew 0-0 yesterday. There was no goal by anyone.
Dan just got it. It took Dan about 3 seconds to register what Tom said in his head.
I just couldn't believe you being that shameless.
No, you know what? I was wrong, to be fair. Connor Cody did score an own goal for his boyhood club.
I would love it if he stayed. Like the apology you are going to have to do would be unbelievable.
Apology? If Trent Alexander-Arnold stays, you will see the most shameless fucking post of "I never doused him for a second."
This is the most shameless thing I've ever heard in my life. He came on MHF yesterday saying he did the intro
Oh,
on
you
MHF.
reminded me, Mo. Hold on, I need to do something. Jamie, did your team win on the weekend?
They did, yeah. My team won.
Dan, did your team win on the weekend?
Yeah, yeah.
Mo,
Favourites in the Champions League.
You know, title on the line. All you got to do is win your games, and you are champions of
I
Serie A.
can see you, bro.
How did they get on yesterday into Milan?
We lost. We bottled it. In the last. Guys, they gave 4 minutes of added time. They scored in 54 seconds.
Not only did they score, someone I've never heard of.
They scored goal of the season, arguably in
Ricardo
Serie A.
Orsolini, bicycle kick, 94th minute to hand the title to Antonio Conte.
Antonio Conte doesn't want to even be there as well.
Just bear in mind, Inter Milan, this brilliant Inter Milan team, are going to miss out on a title to Philip Billing and Scott McTominay as a midfield.
No, just be honest. If we miss on the title, we missed on the title to Antonio Conte, one of the greatest league managers we've witnessed in the last 10 years. Have some shame. The guy won everywhere apart from Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be honest.
Antonio Conte's a brilliant
Antonio
manager.
Conte won the title with Ashley Young and Perisic. Antonio Conte won the title with Darmian.
Why are we trying to slag off, guys that have appeared for their nations at these top tournaments? Guys who were signed by some of the greatest managers of all time. Ivan Perisic is a treble winner. Ivan Perisic is a treble winner.
Tom, this is the rational.
Philip Billing
We're not doing the shameless thing. Okay, we're not doing the shameless thing. Antonio Conte is the only manager in the world that turns water into gold. He has done it He turned Marcos Alonso, who was a bench player at Fiorentina, to a player called Vargas that none of you know, right? To a left wing back that scored enormous goals for Chelsea. He turned Victor Moses into a football player that everyone wanted after they won the title. Let's just not do, he's absolutely, I love Antonio Conte, to be honest. And there is any coach in the world that I'm not ashamed to losing the title to, it is Antonio Conte, because the guy with 1 game a week is one of the most successful managers to ever coach a league title winners. Ever, by the way.
Excuses are coming already.
It is coming.
I mean, that's fantastic, Mo, but let's not lose sight of the fact that you are letting a midfield pivot of Billing and McTominay win Serie A.
They have Lobotka, one of the best DMs now in the world at the current moment.
But they also have McTominay and Lukaku.
And they have Lukaku. To be honest with you, I'm going to tell you guys something.
They had to sell their best player.
I'm going to tell you the truth. When Chelsea signed Lukaku for 100 million, they should have signed Antonio Conte. I'm just going to tell you that Lukaku is playmaker of the year in Serie A. That's Antonio Conte's work. He would have won the title if they signed Antonio Conte with Lukaku at that year. But anyway, that's for a different day. He's deflecting from the Trent conversation. We're not doing this here.
I'll have the Trent conversation. I just find it funny that your team can't win Serie A against a team that's got McTominay and Billing in.
They have Conte, so have some shame, please.
It's not over, though, is it? Haven't you got 5 games to go?
Yeah,
We're still top. We're still top.
No. We had this yesterday with Hassam. You're not top. You're joint top because goal difference doesn't matter in Serie A. It goes to a playoff.
Oh yeah, I've seen that actually.
Yeah.
So you are not top. If the season was to end right now, you don't win the league. You're not top. You're joint top.
You're playing at home for the
you
final
go play
game
in
of the
San
season.
Siro.
We're not playing at home, actually. We just yesterday clarified this. We are going to be called the home team, but it will be played in a neutral ground.
Oh.
So we're not even at the San Siro. We just, like, you know, the World Cup, when the team in the left-sided bracket is called home, and the Champions League, but it's played in a neutral ground. So we're not going to play at San Siro, actually. So it's actually make it worse.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, we're going to talk about the football, or we're going to just do the shameless
We are talking about the football. Brilliant by Bolognese yesterday.
Ya Allah, this is not going to end.
Well, you best not lose another game. If you do lose, if you drop points in one more game, it's going to be even worse. By the way.
Yeah, I know, bro. You're telling me we're going for 3 competitions, bro. You're telling me I know.
Imagine if Inter go over 3.
I think that would be like similar to you with the quadruple when you only won the cups, though. The same, though.
We went 2 from 4. No, we went 2 from 4. It's not the same.
You're winning the Mickey Mouse Cups in England, leaving the big trophies to the big teams.
The FA Cup is the most historic trophy in football history.
It's a Mickey Mouse competition, bro.
The FA Cup's one of the most historic trophies in football history.
Being historic, that I think the Scottish League is one of the oldest one, but it's not as big as the rest of the leagues.
The FA Cup's got a lot of
The
legacy.
FA Cup is from the 1800s. Okay.
Plus,
Anyway,
I would much rather say.
No, I think Dan now is playing FIFA on the side because he's learning because you're waffling. Anyway.
I'd much rather play. I'd much rather go 2 from 4 than 0 from 3. That's all I'll say.
Can we listen? You don't have a lot of time. Can we talk about Liverpool?
Go on then. What about it?
About the Trent situation.
I mean, people think he's staying at delusional.
Why?
Because if he was staying, he would have signed by now. Do you think we'd have sat there in negotiations with Van Dijk and Salah and not been in them with Trent if he wanted to stay? Nothing has changed. No way the fans have treated him has changed from the start of the season to now. No way the reaction that he gets when he plays on the pitch has changed. No way Liverpool's stance on keeping him has changed. Nothing has changed from the start of the season where he didn't want to stay and wanted to go to Real Madrid to now where he doesn't want to stay and wants to go to Real Madrid. He had his moment yesterday. Well done to him. Whoop-de-doo. The celebration, everyone read into that. Oh my God, you don't celebrate like that if you're staying. No, you go listen to what him, the manager, and the captain said. And they all basically said, he's made loads of good memories. Just remember them when he goes. So he's gone. It's fine. It happens. He's a rat. It is what it is. We move on. Liverpool Football Club is bigger than any other player. It's the mental. Better players than Trent Alexander-Arnold have left my football club. And we've been fine. So we'll be fine again. Well, good on the moment yesterday. You know, he'll have his moment with the trophy and the parade because he's earned that. And I'm not someone who says he shouldn't get the right of that. He's earned that. But we move on. It is what it is. He's not staying, though.
Would you say he's not earned the right to leave, to make a decision whether to stay or leave then as well?
He can make that decision. I don't think anyone... The one thing I'll say, I've never said he can't make that decision, but he also has to deal with the consequences from that decision. I'm allowed to feel how I feel about that decision. He can make that decision. I'm not saying he shouldn't make that decision, but my reaction from that decision is also warranted. If he wants to go, my reaction is I don't think a Scouser in a Liverpool team this good should be thinking about leaving. When the future is as bright as it is, I don't think that you should be looking at leaving. Better players have been in worse situations than you and showed true loyalty. For me as a fan, I think that you're in a privileged position with the team you're in, the situation the club's a part of, to throw that away. But it has to work out at Madrid because you can't come back here. The bridge is burned. The bridge will be burned. It has to work in Madrid.
I don't think it is burned.
I think,
the way they treated him yesterday, I don't think the bridge is burned.
Because he hasn't left.
Time heals all. Like, I think if you look at even like one of the biggest kind of players that left at Liverpool at when we were at a bad stage, and there was a lot of, I don't know, dissatisfaction towards him, was Torres, and like how he left us because of how bad we were. And back then, people were calling him every name under the sun, and then that gave a little bit of time. I know he's not obviously a scouser, but I think time does heal. And I think if he did leave, my thoughts are, and I've said it since the start, is I think he will leave. I don't think the goal, the celebration, anything like that would be like him doing that is going to be like, right, I'm going to change my mind and stay now. I don't think that goal will do anything. I think Liverpool are probably still pushing behind the scenes to get him to stay. But at the end of the day, yeah, it is his decision. I think it is a different situation to maybe other players in the past. But Gerrard was tempted to leave by Chelsea, and then obviously there was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes that he decided to stay. And I think that was the right decision for him. I think stuff that he came out and said after, where he said, I wouldn't be looked at in the same way from Chelsea fans as adored as with Liverpool fans. I think that's 100% right. And I think Trent will know that if he goes to Madrid. But from my perspective is that like he's given all his years of football to the club. He's been unbelievable for us. As you said, Tom, there's better players that have left Liverpool and we've survived. I think Carragher talking about it yesterday. Gerrard left Liverpool and we went on to win every single trophy like after him, and then the next manager that came after him. So I think with him leaving, let him leave, say good luck and move on, and we continue and go again next year. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Do you know what I mean? Let him go live his life if that's what he wants to do. If he doesn't want to be part of Liverpool, then like, there's no skin off our back.
He can do what he wants, but he's every fan who feels the way I feel is entitled to feel that way, and he best hope it works out in Madrid, because I know Mo, he hasn't burnt a bridge yet because he hasn't left yet. The moment he leaves, the reaction's different. The moment Trent Alexander-Arnold leaves, he cannot come back.
I disagree.
He won't come back. So it has to work out at Madrid, otherwise he'll end up like an Owen, who may well play at 2-3 fantastic clubs, but is loved by no one. No club loves him. If it doesn't work out at Madrid, he'll be 28, 29, 30 with no fan base that holds him to this brilliant level. And that I know that footballers go at the end of their career, oh, look at me medals, look at what I've done, look at this, that, and the other. I think that's one of the biggest things that matters, though. How adored you are by a fan base.
But you're talking from your point of view, because if I'm looking at it, to be honest, the guy ran out of contract. Yes, you've won the league. Yes, he wants to go. Listen, when Lukaku forced his way out of Inter and he wasn't happy at Chelsea, even though Inter fans called him a traitor at that time, when he apologized later, it was 1 year later then, if I'm not mistaken, is it 1 year or 2 years later? 1 year after he left, he wanted to leave Chelsea. Inter fans said, if you apologize, we'll just take you back. It is okay, because it wasn't forgotten that he won us the first league title in 9 years. It's not forgotten. And by the way, I just have to say, the way Trent was snake about it and all the stuff, but at the end, we don't know, as Jamie said, what is going on behind the scenes. Just don't know what is going on behind the scenes.
The situation, like, obviously, because Salah and Van Dijk have signed now, people are like, oh, Trent's definitely gone. But like up until 2 weeks, we didn't know what, like, and there was loads of stuff being said in the media about like Salah was saying he's more out than in. Like Van Dijk was saying that he doesn't know. There was talk of PSG after the PSG game that they were having a conversation with him. Like there was loads of stuff going on behind the scenes. But now that that's signed, all focus is on Trent. I think obviously it's going to be magnified more. And yeah, I just think that's something that he has to put up with. Do you know what I mean? Like, he still has quality. I like going for the rest of the season, I wouldn't start him. I put Bradley there if it's the case that he is leaving, because I think we're like looking towards the future and want to see if Bradley's able to maybe adapt a little bit, see what he's like playing at right back consistently. And that's not a case of because Trent's leaving, I don't want him to start. I just think that we're obviously planning for life without him. So yeah, it's a weird situation because of obviously everything that he's done for the club. And I think obviously it's hard to take emotion out of it because he is leaving, and you feel like there should be like that loyalty there. And I think there's Tom, you're not wrong.
You can't take emotion out of it. You cannot take emotion out of it.
No, you definitely shouldn't take emotion out of it. Like, what's the point in living and watching football without the emotion of it? But I think it's more a case of keep the emotion, but like try and see it from his point of view and what way he's thinking. And I think that's why a lot
he's entitled to think that way. I don't think any Liverpool, we disagree with it, but he's entitled to think that way and he's entitled to do what he wants. But in the same breath, Liverpool fans are entitled to feel how they feel about it. That I'm sick of fucking rival fans and people who haven't lived the situation trying to tell me how I'm supposed to feel about it.
But I had the same situation like you before. Like, we lived it with our clubs. I'm not sure if Dan has lived it with his club for one of the players that left.
Yeah, I think
we've seen it before.
I find it quite comparable. It's not exactly the same, but I think I felt something similar when Mason Mount left. I feel like Mason Mount probably was like the next in line to the throne of John Terry. It potentially sort of in that ilk of someone coming through Cobham, had won the Champions League, had done unbelievable things, and I think we thought he'd have this unbelievable career there. And then when times got really tough, he was almost half forced out the door due to a contract dispute, if you like, and also the way he sort of went about it when he did finally join Manchester United, the way he spoke when he joined with his dad in the dressing room, I don't think that sat very well with Chelsea fans at all. And I would find it extremely tough to welcome Mason Mount back with open arms, even with everything he did for the club, because I feel like he probably left us in a time of despair and uncertainty. But at the same time, there was a lot going on in the background at the club where it probably didn't feel the same as what he knew it to feel growing up. So it's as close as I can probably get with Chelsea, to be honest with you. But I think when you leave Liverpool, you're not only leaving Liverpool, you're almost going against like the culture that is being a Scouser, I think, as well, that comes into it. And there's something there that I think is very difficult to understand for people that aren't from that exact area and aren't a Scouser. I think that's where Tom comes across like it really does hurt. I don't want to speak for you, Tom, but that's what I sense there.
Trent Alexander-Arnold has the unfortunate privilege of being the representation of every Scouser, because he plays for Liverpool every week, and because Jones weren't there at that time from 2017, he was the Scouser in the team. The weight of every Scouser was put on him. It's something unfair. He never asked for it. It was just a byproduct of what it is. But that swings in both ways, because I think every rival fan will sit there and go, there is very few players protected by their own club's fans more than Trent.
Yeah, nobody. Actually, no one at Liverpool. Even Salah is not as protected as this.
7-8 years, we have built him up and protected him from everything because he's one of our own. We see he's living out every single one of Liverpool fans' dreams. Scout Liverpool fans' dreams of what Trent is doing. And to see him throw that away effectively. Because you know what? Gerrard was it. And Fowler was it. And there's been plenty of players before that who wear that Scouser in the team, who was the representation of us on that football pitch. And some of them left by their own volition. Some of them were forced out the door. But all those ones who left were in situations, especially since 1990, which is the caveat I'll use because I'm not great on ones before that, but since 1990, every single one of them Scousers who's left Liverpool left worse teams than the one Trent's leaving. Trent is leaving a team which, in my opinion...
that's what I don't understand. You're absolutely right. Can I cut you off? That's what I don't understand. If your ambition is to go win more trophies, and you see this Liverpool team renewing Salah and Van Dijk, no investments last summer, you look at Arne Slot, you look at the trajectory of the team, unless you believe the reports and all the other people that are saying that Liverpool are not going to win anything again, that was a one-off, blah, blah, blah. He's in the dressing room. So if he's going to Real Madrid to win, but Liverpool are going to win. Like, Liverpool are not going to just sit silent while Arsenal buy players and Man City buy players.
We were on a show yesterday.
That's what I don't understand.
And I was saying, if I look at Liverpool, I think Liverpool are for at least the next 2-3 years, whilst you've got Salah and Van Dijk there, and you get an Arne Slot building a squad, minimum second favourites for every title. Minimum second favourites.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand, to be honest.
You go to Madrid, and Madrid,
Barcelona are actually in a better trajectory than them.
Season. I think that Barcelona squad is better than Madrid's, and I think that Barcelona manager is better than Madrid's. Even if they get rid of Carlo and bring in Xabi Alonso, I think Flick is a better manager. He's shown more. I look at that then and go, you either go to Spain, go to a club which won't protect you, go to a fan base which won't protect you, and have the same chance, if not 5% more, than doing it at your club, with a fan base who will protect you to a fault and adore you for your people. What's it come down to? If he makes whatever decision he makes, but I'm entitled to feel whatever way I feel about it.
Of
That's
course.
the part that gets me. I don't get all these people saying, "Oh, you're not supposed to feel that way. You should be grateful for him." I'm gonna feel the way I feel. Not
100%. Then no one can tell you to change how you feel about it. Talking about the football and touching on what Tom has said, are Liverpool favorites next season? I was gonna do a video about this later, and I was listening to what's his name, Richard Keys, the Bean Sports one, and the rest, and they were saying something. There was an argument about Liverpool will not win anything next season. I'm not sure if you guys want to hear it with me. I can actually download it, but it was actually.
I'll be honest, man, I don't want to listen to Richard Keys.
It is very strange argument that Liverpool have been not good, that they're not going to win next season.
Mm-hmm.
They have been carried by the Salah. The league is weak and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Liverpool are weak. If they keep Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk and they just get 2 forwards, we're talking about maybe the favorites then.
I mean, I'm just going to check something very quickly. Liverpool are on course to finish with 94 points.
Yeah, 94. I think it's coping. Like, not coping, but I think it's just I try to justify how people are saying that this Liverpool team is good. And to be honest, like, a lot of people that I've spoken with, like, people that aren't just, like, say, sitting on Twitter or texting out, like, Liverpool are, like, playing in the worst Premier League team of all time. People that actually have conversations with. A lot of people will give this Liverpool team credit because of the quality that they do have. And I think that's the norm, rather than say just people saying on social media that, like, this is a terrible Premier League. And I think next season is, I think it depends on signings, because if you look at the Liverpool team, I would say, like, Núñez, Jota probably would be maybe on the way. I think Jota's maybe 50-50, but obviously with injuries, apparently Salah hasn't been happy with. Chiesa hasn't been put into the team at all. So we're probably looking at maybe 2 new forwards. I think you need cover in midfield, maybe another right back, maybe another centre back, new goalkeeper coming in instead of Callagher. Like, there's going to be a lot of change to that Liverpool team. I think Arsenal and probably have the most stability from the top 3 in terms of if they have everyone fit, because the team will be around a little bit while longer. And then Man City will have Rodri back, which will obviously make a big difference. I think it'll be like 33 based on what I know right now, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's like a standout favourite.
Welcome, Ashraf, to the stream.
I think I'll look at it this way. Liverpool are on course to record the 6th highest points total ever in Premier League history. I don't care if United have had a bad season. I don't care if Tottenham have had a bad season. That doesn't change that Liverpool, across 38 games, are on course to accumulate the 6th highest points total in Premier League history. The reason it is the worst Premier League season of all time...
No. Can I objectively...
Objectively? What objectively?
I'm going to tell you. How much do you think Salah is contributing to this being... Okay, and I'm going to repeat it again. You heard it from me. I'm just playing here the devil's advocate, okay? Salah... Now, be honest. Salah is on course to have the best ever Premier League season from a player in the history of the Premier League. At the current moment, in a 38 game, Salah has had the best ever season, right? So that's a one-off. How much do you think we contributed to that success?
Where was this talk about Ronaldo in 07-08 or Henry in 02-03?
They didn't have that. They didn't have that.
Henry put together a 2020 season at the time.
But Henry,
season of all time.
Hold on. Yes.
Ronaldo put together a Ballon d'Or season, regarded as one of the greatest of all time. But I went hearing these conversations didn't exist back then of, Henry has carried this Arsenal team to a title. No, it was this Arsenal team's really good, and they helped elevate Henry to this level.
Okay, calm down.
They weren't 33 though, were they? 32 at that time.
Okay, let me tell you what my point. Henry at that time, the next season, Arsenal didn't win the league because Henry didn't have the same season. Ronaldo didn't have the same season. My point about this, Tom, it's not a trying.
Next season we won the league, by the way. The next season we actually won the league. It's a season. That season we didn't win the league.
We went invincible the year.
My point is that he didn't repeat the same season.
Yeah.
My point about this, Tom, is that what Salah has done this season is exceptional. So for people to assume and build their assumption for next season based on Salah repeating the same thing, I think it's in my opinion, I can't build it that he will repeat the next season. If Salah gets half of this GA next season, which is 25 to 28, I think that would be considered a very good season for a 34 years old. That would be a magnificent season for a 34 years old. 30 GA would be outstanding for him.
Okay.
I'm not trying to downplay Liverpool.
Yeah,
let me just finish because before I come out like an agenda merchant, Salah is a Liverpool player. He is a Liverpool player who was a number 11 that plays for Liverpool Football Club. But he's part of the team, right? So that is not taking anything from Liverpool Football Club. Like we don't take anything from Man United when Ronaldo did this, when Henry did this. My point about it, to build my assumption that Liverpool will be as strong as this season, based on Salah's season, I think will be a false hope. That is my point. Is that very rational from me or no?
But then
Liverpool don't need Mohamed Salah to put together 57 goals and assists to win a league title.
Yeah.
If Mohamed Salah had, if you take away, I reckon if you could take away about 20 of Salah's goals and assists this season, and Liverpool
think you would win the league? You think you would win the league?
Yes. If Mohamed Salah got 35 goals and assists instead of 55, Liverpool can still win the league.
I think just like we're talking about Ronaldo, we're talking about Henry, we're talking about Salah. Like you need good players in your team to win leagues. That's just normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, 100%. And even though Salah is having an unbelievable season, which I agree, he's having probably one of, if not the best Premier League individual season of all time. But even if he does drop off, Liverpool have won leagues where he hasn't contributed that much. Do you know what I mean? The level back then was higher as well than it is now in terms of the teams at the top, with Man City obviously being a standout. So I think even if Salah does drop off next season, which I think he will, I don't think he's going to reach the heights that he did this season, because that is standalone. That's okay, because that's Liverpool's job and Slot's job to go, okay, we maybe are a bit more reliant on Salah last season. Let's see if we can spread it out. And even for like a lot of this season, like
you got
Diaz and Gakpo
as well.
Okay, yeah. I love this rationale, because that means Jimmy thinks that they are favorites or second favorites, not based on this season's performance by Mohamed Salah. It's because you think the team is superior to other teams.
No, I think Liverpool's team is a team that has shown that they've been able to win leagues. And what I was just about to say there was, even when Liverpool, and the reason Liverpool are in this position is because of how consistent good they were at the start of the season. And that came from players like Diaz, like Gakpo. Like Gakpo was one of the most informed left wingers in the world for a certain period of time, and Salah wasn't getting like, say, a goal every game. And Gakpo was chipping in with like important goals. Like you think got one against City, one against Real Madrid at that time when Liverpool needed to kind of continue the momentum, and everyone was saying they were going to fall off. So other players have dipped in. And even though Liverpool's form has dipped slightly over, say, the last kind of 2 or 3 months, because they were so good at the start of the year, they've been able to do that. They've taken their foot off the gas. So I think signings are going to be big. Like if Trent does leave, and as I said, maybe like 1 or 2 more forwards, another midfielder, and this is where I think we're going to actually get to see the best of Slot, because he has improved players like Diaz, Gakpo, Gravenberch, and that's a good thing. It shows he's able to use the players that he has to develop a team. But now it's about bringing in the players that will keep them competing for, say, next season and the seasons following after.
We are on the rational league. We are going to be rational people here.
I am very rational. You know,
I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying that this discussion between me and you, it's going to be a rational discussion. Liverpool's best.
Can we get Dan and Ashraf with us as well? They're part of the rational. Excuse you, Tom. They're part of the rational league. It's fine.
This question goes to anyone. Liverpool's top striker this season has 6 goals. If Liverpool sign a striker with working legs and the brain that can pass Kadashi's brain training on the Nintendo DS, do Liverpool's title chances improve?
Mm-hmm.
If Liverpool by Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth, a left back who has the brain capacity to last 90 minutes, do Liverpool's title chances improve?
Yes.
My point is, we don't need Mohamed Salah to put together 55 goals and assists next season, because if we do the basics, the absolute bare minimum signings in getting an actual striker with brain cells and a body that doesn't break down, and a left back who can get up and down and isn't passing the ball to the opposition every 5 minutes, Liverpool all of a sudden look even stronger, despite not losing any players. I'm not
what
talking
if
about
they both sign and do their ACL first game of the season, Tom? Can you still win the league?
Then I can play the Arsenal card then. Injuries.
No, because what I think the original question was...
That is part of football that happened to Arsenal and Chelsea last season.
As of now, as the season's coming to an end, are Liverpool favourites for next season with the team they will most likely have going into next season without any additions? Are they favourites?
Well, Rodri will be back.
Rodri back. Rodri back.
I'd say yes.
Everyone fit. Dan,
I'd say
fantastic
yes.
question. Everyone fit. 3 teams are fit. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Next season, the season is over. Mohamed Salah has done what he's done. Van Dijk, Trent has contributed. Going to next season, knowing that Trent might go, because that's the most likely outcome. Who are favorites? Are Liverpool favorites? Rodri's going to be back.
I'd say yes.
I'd
say Man City are favorites.
Oh, I don't know, because like
I think Man City are the one team you can't put.
Love this question,
because I have no idea what their rebuild looks like. Rodri's coming back, but they're losing De Bruyne. They're going to be losing Bernardo Silva. They're going to be losing, some defenders like either Ake or Stones. Ederson might go. There's so much overhaul in that City squad. I can't confidently say yes for sure. I think next season it's between us and Arsenal.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of it is going to come down to how Arsenal get on in the Champions League this year. If Arsenal lose in the Champions League in heartbreaking fashion once again, I do wonder about the mentality, because I'm not saying that Arsenal squad's mentally weak. I'm going off what I think one of the strongest mental squads, Liverpool 2018, 2019, whatever. That squad, the players in that squad have come out and said, if we hadn't won the Champions League that year, after being so close for 2 years on the bounce, it would have broke us mentally. Now, Arsenal, this could be 3 years on the bounce of being so close to the top on it and just falling short.
Does that just not show that Arsenal are not good enough? And unless they add something to this team, they'll continue to be just short.
You can look at it that way, 100%.
I think because winning the Champions League is an if. It's not like set in stone, but we know where they're going to finish probably in the Premier League. We know where City and Liverpool are going to roughly end their season. So just sort of looking at that going into next season without any hypotheticals of players arriving, likely that players will leave due to the end of their contract. I don't see Arsenal being that as favourites. I would think Salah repeating a pretty good season probably isn't enough. I would say Manchester City with their track record will probably more than likely be.
Do you think City are going to nail that with the amount of players that are looking like they're going to be going now? Like they're losing De Bruyne, they're losing Bernardo Silva, they're losing at least one centre back, maybe even 2. Kovacic could go, Ederson could go. There's probably 1 or 2 more that could be going. They've got to replace.
How many?
I think we're leaving it to Man United.
There's a lot of hypotheticals there, Tom. How many players?
This is the Arsenal league.
I'm joking, guys.
Like they may have a clear out, but they also might decide actually we're going to keep this player. We're going to keep this player.
And I said this before, Dan. I think people really are overestimating what this rebuild is going to be for City. I think people think they're going to let go of 7, 8 major players. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they will probably keep some for experience. I don't think they lose that many from defense. I think Rodri alone coming back is a massive boost, because the other players they have in their team, if you look at them, Omar Marmoush will be probably more settled in. Haaland is still there. Foden will still be there. I think Akanji, Diaz, Nathan Ake will all be there. Gvardiol, who's one of the best left backs when he's in form, is still going to be there. If they get rid of Ederson and they sign a quality keeper, I don't think that makes a difference, to be honest. As long as the keeper is a decent shot stopper, I think it should still be okay.
Aren't they linked to Unai Simon, the Spanish goalkeeper?
Yeah, starter. He's a starter for Spain. So
he's
maybe
the starter, right? Like Pep Guardiola wants
Bilbao. Is he Bilbao?
I think it's Bilbao or something like this. I think, like you, to be honest with you, Unai Simon is better than Ederson anyway. Like just as a goalkeeper.
I think it comes down to how you think their rebuild's going to go, and I think it will eventually.
I disagree with all of you guys.
Their rebuild is completely hypothetical.
I am with Tom here.
But if you run through City's team, even sort of removing the players that are most likely to go, they still have a very good team, and they'll likely go and improve it if they do have to let players go of the. Like if Kevin De Bruyne goes, they will have to replace him. They will have to replace probably Bernardo Silva.
I've just pulled up the squads. I've just pulled up City's squad, and I'm looking through the list. Just going off, if someone knows that stuff has changed, let me know. But I'm going off the reports that I've seen throughout the past 4 months about who will be leaving City or who is on the chopping block for City. Ederson, Ortega, Stones, Ake, De Bruyne, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva, Grealish. That's what, 7? And I've not included any like your McAtees who might want to leave for
half
game
of them.
time.
Half of them have hardly been fit this season, by the way.
Exactly. And I don't think they impact.
But that's the point. They've hardly been. If we're looking at that, those were
I
players.
don't think they're big misses.
At Man City's best, were very important players. Who?
Yeah.
I mean, Savio's been decent this year. Omar Marmoush, Jordy's still out, but he could well be good. But if you're looking at that midfield, I'm looking at that midfield. The
jury's out on Marmoush. What we doing? What?
He's played like 10 games. I can't say
he's been good.
Great.
He's been good.
What? Are you kidding me?
He's been good.
He's been decent. What?
He's been all right. Yeah,
his record's not bad at all.
I've not been wild. I've not been wild by him. He's been decent. But I'm not.
By the way, I think they're literally their only issue, or the only thing they have to strengthen in the summer, in my opinion, from the starting 11 team, I would say is their midfield. And when I say midfield, I literally just mean one more midfielder. If Rodri and Foden are going to be there in that midfield, you only need one more quality midfielder to partner them. Then the rest is all backups, anyways, or squad rotation or squad depth.
So if you think about it, who can play there at the moment.
Yeah, and maybe Nico Gonzalez could be that guy for them next season. You never know. But even if he isn't that guy and they want to go in the market, getting that one starting quality midfielder isn't that difficult. And then getting the rest as backups, I think is okay. And when you consider the fact that they also have Pep Guardiola, it just changes the whole equation. Like I just feel, and Rodri's, people don't realize the impact of having one of the best players in the world come back from injury and play again next season. And Liverpool have seen that, right? When Van Dijk was out and came back the season after.
He's not even one of the best players in the world.
Exactly. And I know, but I'm picking like world-class players. Like if you look at Van Dijk when he missed that season.
You need to look at Liverpool one because the thing that gets lost in that Liverpool season was Liverpool were top until January, and Van Dijk had been out since September. The problem, the Liverpool season fell apart when Matip and Gomez both were out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but Tom, when Rodri got injured, City didn't drop off until 3, 4, 5 games later. The next 3 games they actually won. Remember the Fulham game, they won 3-2. There was another game they won as well, like 3-0 or 2-0. They only started dropping points. The first points they dropped were against Bournemouth when they lost 2-1 away from home in the league, and that's when the whole thing started. So I don't think
Rodri got injured. Rodri got injured on the 22nd of September, and the first game they lost that was relevant. I'm not going to include the League Cup, so you wouldn't have played, and that was November.
Yeah. Liverpool, 2 months later.
Van Dijk got injured at the start of September, and Liverpool's worst run of form came in mid-January. Like I just look at that. Man City losing Rodri's massive. It's huge. He was the Ballon d'Or winner. He was the best player on the planet. But
how many minutes has he played this season?
Who?
Rodri.
Yeah, he played like 14.
20. I was going to say 20 minutes, right? So they didn't have him before his injury as well.
Mm-hmm. They were fine.
Yeah. They won the first 5 games without him.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at this going. I don't see. It's not like the backup to Rodri got injured as well, or all the options.
They didn't have a backup to Rodri. They didn't have a backup.
They didn't have one. They don't have one.
So they do now because they bought Nico in January.
Yeah, they bought Nico Gonzalez now, even though I think Pep's management of him's a little bit weird at times. I don't know why he didn't start the Manchester derby. That's a bit weird, but that's by the by. I look at that then and go, I can't look at that the same way because it's Liverpool's one was fucking hell. We bought 5 centre backs that season, and at the end of the season, none of the 5 were fit.
Yeah, and didn't you play Fabinho on that centre back?
Fabinho and Henderson.
Our 3 most used centre back pairings were Fabinho and Nat Phillips and Ozan Kabak, and Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. Nat Phillips was my most used centre back in the season.
Please do a TikTok of where are they now.
Reece Williams is at Morecambe. Nat Phillips is still at my football club. He's still employed by Liverpool.
No, he's on loan
at Derby.
Yeah.
Who else played that year? Nico Williams started 10 games because Trent kept getting injured.
I think Kabak's retired.
Kabak done his ACL mid-season at Hoffenheim. Ben Davies never even played. He's now on loan at I can't even remember what he's on. He's on loan from Rangers at somewhere. He went to Rangers straight after us. Like this is what the situation we had that year. I don't compare that to Rodri, where Rodri really unlucky injury, but their backup was a 36-year-old Gundogan.
I think I would say the transfer market is going to decide it, because the one thing as well, if you actually look at like maybe City and Arsenal, they haven't been that good in the transfer window. Like they have got some signings wrong. Like I think of Arsenal obviously with Jesus and Havertz, like players that I think are good squad players in their own right, but they're not players that are going to get you to the next level. Like Liverpool, when they were on the brink of becoming a really good team, they bought Van Dijk and Alisson, which transformed everything. I think City now, at the minute, like Savinho came in last season, he's been okay. Doku, I think, the jury is still out because of his end product. I think like there's a lot of question marks around Man City, I think, at the minute in terms of getting the right players in. I think Liverpool are good in the transfer.
And I have another say in this before, like, I actually think that Pep's...
Can I just finish up, Mo? Because I've got to shoot now. I'm just going to say, on City, I think Man City get a lot of guarantees and a lot of give because of their manager. And Pep Guardiola deserves a lot of give. But I think that overshadows the fact that I do think that squad has some glaring holes in it. You mentioned Savio and Doku. When you look at the best City team, when you look at the best City teams, their wingers were contributing 20, 25 goals a season. I don't think Doku gets you more than 10.
But I think Marmoush gets you like 15 or 20.
But I'm comparing this to what they had. They had Kevin De Bruyne, who would get you 25 assists all comps, 10, 15 goals. You had Raheem Sterling. For as limited a footballer as Raheem Sterling could be at times, Raheem Sterling would get you minimum 30 GA a season. Leroy Sané.
Yeah, but Tom, what is the probability you think that City don't get a top quality replacement for De Bruyne? Whether it's Florian Wirtz, whether it's Musiala, whoever the hell it is. What do you think is the probability of them not doing that?
They will get one. This is Man City you're talking about. I mean, the only one that I'd be a bit iffy about is Gibbs White. I don't see the point in Gibbs White. But the rest, if they get a Wirtz or a Musiala, brilliant. But it's also, I think it's going to take time. I'm not saying City won't ever be back. I'm not saying Pep is never going to win a Premier League title, but I'm saying in the next season, I can't put them there. I just think there's too much overhaul that's got to be done in that squad in such a short period of time for it to all just click straight away. If it does, Pep goes right back up there, boom, because that's to rebuild a squad, blow it all up and rebuild it again. It's one of the hardest things to do. But I just think it's going to take longer than 12 months.
He has kind of done that, if you guys remember, in 2016, 2017, when he took over and they finished fourth. And I think they had a backline of Bakary Sania, Kolarov and all.
He rebuilt
the team, and next season he did a Centurion season. So it literally was that.
He's never gone 2 years without winning the league. I'd say like.
And he hasn't gone 2 years without winning the league. That's also true.
All I will say though, before I go, he'd never faced Arnie Slot 2 years in a row.
Oh, stop it!
Damn. Yeah. I actually wanted to touch on this and say a couple of things about Pep. I actually think he needs to adjust his tactics massively. I think the fear factor is gone from some of the teams regarding Manchester City. When they play, I don't see the same fear factor. I think teams have sussed out how to play against them. There are a lot of coaches in the history of the sport that cannot change. I get it. Pep Guardiola is a genius. He's arguably the best manager I've watched in the league ever, better than even Alex Ferguson. This is just for me. Like, I have the utmost respect for him in terms of like someone to create a system to make it work. I can't rule him out, but I see a lot of holes in the City team that spending 200 million didn't fill. Maybe you spend more. And I don't think that Rodri by himself will fill, because I have this urge in me and to always say that, and I feel it is true, that I think that Kevin De Bruyne has carried City's attack for the majority of the time. He played well on everything, but without Kevin De Bruyne. For example, and I'm just going to give an example. Last season, without Kevin De Bruyne coming back for the last 20 games, you can look at the numbers, you can watch the games, you don't win the league. I think Kevin De Bruyne contributes massively to how City plays, and I think it will be very hard, unless they sign Wirtz and he comes in and does a Kevin De Bruyne. And if
there are 2 seasons.
Yeah,
Habibi, finish. Sorry, finish.
And if we hold Kevin De Bruyne to that high standards that we have and that place, I don't think that Wirtz is going to be able to replace the guy. That is just my take on it.
I disagree for 2 reasons. One is, look, I definitely think without De Bruyne, they would have struggled to win the league last season. But you have to also go the other way. They were still in a title race and up top without De Bruyne for like 6 months. And 2020, 2021, when KDB was out for the whole season, someone else stepped up in Gundogan and they ended up winning the league anyway. So if they do sign someone like Wirtz, again, this is contingent on them signing someone of top quality, not Morgan Gibbs-White, obviously, who is quality, but I just don't think City level. Then I do think they will have a proper replacement for KDB. That doesn't mean a replacement in terms of he will contribute exactly those kind of numbers. Maybe the numbers get distributed somewhere else. Maybe instead of someone coming in and getting 20 GA, he gets 15 and then it goes to Savio, it goes to Doku, it goes to Foden, it goes to Haaland. And regarding your first point about, I think Pep Guardiola needs to change his system. I actually don't think he needs to change his system from the last 2 years. I think he just needs to change the personnel. I think if he has a pivot of Rodri and another physical, strong PMP midfielder, who obviously also has technical ability, who has like the passing range and all that kind of stuff, someone of the ilk of Chouameni and these kind of players,
Pogba's
I
on a
think
free.
he's... yeah.
Work rate.
I think if he ends up having a midfielder like that, he can still do everything else, because I think their midfield sometimes would get bullied by other stronger midfields. And if he has a midfield of Rodri, I don't know, Camavinga, for example, I'm just throwing a random name, or Declan Rice, or Partey of a few years younger, and then you have Foden up top, or Florian Wirtz if they get him, or whatever, I still think their team dominates, because I look at their back line, I look at their midfield. Not dominates, but at least like becomes favorite for me instantly. The only place I still feel
to come here is to debate this, because if you guys will hear Staffy's points, you would be amazed. But fine, he's joining. He's joining in
the only place I feel they're still weak at, and I only say that because I know people will say they're young, give them time, is the wings, because I know Savio and Doku can come good, but I haven't seen a good enough run of games where I could say I think they can get 20-25 GA in a season. I don't know that. I think Marmoush can, because he's done that kind of stuff at Frankfurt. He seems like the kind of winger who wants to get in behind and score goals. He seems like he has that kind of drive and positional awareness. So that's one player outside Haaland. I don't know if they have that third player yet, but I think they will sign someone like that.
Let me do the super chats at a time. Can I do this?
Yeah.
Man United worst home record in 62 years. No Man United fan want to talk about this. It's the worst in 62 years. Pre-season, I need Mikel Arteta to win a major to stay, but after the Champions League games, I trust him in big games, at least, unless we get pumped by PSG, then I'll stick to my pre-season opinion. PS, cool to see an Irish guest.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, okay, all right. Thank
Connor,
you, Connor.
we've always had this record against big teams for the last 2 seasons. It's not just this season. I know we got knocked out by Bayern last season, but they didn't dominate us. We still put up a good fight. We still played well. So that's something he has done.
Yeah, but by the way, that notion that people say that Arsenal were pumped by Bayern, it was 1 goal in it.
Ridiculous.
We got pumped by Man City as well, didn't you? 5-1.
That was 2 seasons ago, no?
No, was that not last year? When no. Yeah,
and it was 4-1.
Oh no,
it was 4-1 2 seasons ago. Yeah. 5-1 was us to them this season.
No, I'm thinking. It was because it was at the Etihad last. Oh, I thought it was last year.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
No. Last year we drew 0-0 and won the first game 1-0.
Oh yeah, he's 1-0. I remember that.
Okay, let me. Lighten here is saying Salah is having a historic season, but they've also got basically nothing from the number 9. So if they improve in the 9 position, that could improve Liverpool. That is true. I can say that.
By the way, Leighton, there's also clear evidence that when Henry left us in 2007, that season we had a fantastic season. We only lost 3 games in the league. We lost the league by 4 points. We were top of the league for majority of the season until Eduardo broke his leg. When Cristiano Ronaldo left United, the next season they challenged for the league. They lost the league by 1 point to Chelsea, to new Carlo Ancelotti, who took over Chelsea. And then the season after that, they regained it back. And if you look at Salah's own numbers, when Salah first joined, he had 30. Well, that's the season when he broke the record, 33 or 32 goals. He had like, I think, was it 42 GA? 40 GA. Go look at the next season. He had 30 GA the next season, and they actually had a better season when they won the Champions League and finished with 97 points. So I think if Salah's numbers go down, but are spread elsewhere, that's a lot better for them.
Yeah, you do know a lot of journalists in England criticizing Liverpool, not because of football, but what the city represents. I hear that. There's a lot of people that told me this, actually, that England don't like Liverpool because of their political stand or something against England. Or
it might be the other way around.
Yeah, no, it's English, or Scouts, not English.
Yeah.
That's like the phrase.
Oh, okay. Guys, remember, hit that like button. We almost have 700 people here in the house, and we don't, not even in 200 likes. I said it before. Hit that like button, vote in the vote. Like, hit that like, let's get to 300 likes live, guys. That will absolutely do the show wonders, guys. That's even less than half the people that are here. Balaji saying, when you do predictions, you will also need to consider the same type of a start. New additions and the team coming back to retain, to add them to favorites. So Pool will be hot favorites with their props high. I hear what you're saying. So because Liverpool, but I actually think normally the team that win the title starts slow. I think we've seen this. Even City starts slow every time they won the title, by the way.
I think that's
right? Am I wrong to say that?
Not always.
I think that's a City thing though. Like Guardiola, the one thing I would say about Guardiola when it comes to like title run-ins is he never ever starts the season like unbelievably strong because he knows there's no point. It's about peaking at the end of the season when like you're going into like a run-in, and that's what he
But can I add something? We have never seen Liverpool retain a title in our lifetime, right? So me assuming that Liverpool will not retain the title under the same ownership is just a fair point. Like they wouldn't do the right investments, they wouldn't get the right players, they would be a little bit cheap. That's my assumption.
Or it's PTSD that's not backed by any evidence.
It is backed by the history.
That's not correct.
Yeah. I don't know about that because they signed Szoboszlai and McAllister last summer, right?
No, but like Liverpool won the title and they didn't strengthen in the team that year.
But that was one time. That was only one time.
Yeah, like you've never seen them retain a league because we've only won one Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Like it's different to like say.
Who did you guys sign, Jamie, when you guys won the Champions League in 2019? Who did you guys sign that summer? I know you signed Van Dijk in Jan before that.
No, yeah, we won the Champions League.
Alisson.
No,
Alisson was Jan. Alisson was Jan as well.
No, Alisson played in the semi-final against
Yeah, exactly. He was in January signing.
No, he
Van Dijk.
wasn't.
No, Van Dijk.
Alisson played against Liverpool in the semi-final that year.
Yeah. No, but that was the year that we lost to.
That was the previous.
Yeah, we lost in 2018. I was at the final in Kiev. We lost to Real Madrid, and we lost to Real Madrid. So we had Karius in goal. Van Dijk came in the January. He started centre back with Lovren. But in the summer, we brought in Fabinho, Alisson, Shaqiri, and
okay. You're talking about the season after
Chamberlain.
Yeah, I'm talking about the season after because I'm trying to prove to you that maybe when they won the Champions League, they made signings, but I don't know who they signed, to be honest, the summer after.
I
honestly don't know.
I think Chamberlain might have been that summer.
Naby
Keita, signed
him. Wait, didn't they? When did they sign Thiago Alcantara? That was after they won the league, maybe.
That was after winning the league, 2020.
After
they didn't win the league. He didn't win the league.
No. In 2020, they won the league, and then they signed Alcantara. So there you go.
Maybe. What if City signing do all their ACL guys? Maybe. We're talking about who's favorites next season, Staffy. Welcome,
Staffy.
Hello.
United in the hat, no?
What's up? Okay, whatever.
United?
No, ask the question you were going to ask.
Bro, no.
Just ask. You can ask about the chain. Just ask. It's okay. You can ask. I'd like to be asked.
I think it's for the Warriors, no?
Warriors.
I'm sorry.
Knicks. Oh, that's the Knicks. Okay.
Someone else. I can't.
It's a New York chain. It's fake, Mo. It's plastic.
I know it is fucking fake. I know you, bro. I know it is fake.
It's pretty heavy though. For just plastic, it's pretty heavy.
I know it is fake. I don't know what happened yesterday. I went to bed, bro. Playoffs here like 3 a.m, bro. Something.
No, we won 2 days ago. And we play again today. It's for all these people in the chat that every day used to tell me we're gonna get swept by the Pistons.
Okay, let me put the super chat because it's related to what we're talking about. We haven't spoken about Chelsea then, which is a lot of talking points. But listen, this is very interesting actually. This conversation about who's favorites next season. City starting next season, maybe Unai Simon or Costa, Cambiasso, the Juventus guy, Diaz, Gavardiol, Nico O'Reilly, Rodri, Camavinga. You're not signing Camavinga and Wirtz. That is not happening. Foden, Marmoush, Haaland will definitely challenge. You're not signing Camavinga and Wirtz, by the way. That's not happening. Also, you have Nico Gonzalez.
Yeah. By the way, did you know? I just learned.
How are they gonna sign? How are they gonna sign a goalkeeper, Cambiasso for 60 million, Camavinga for like 80 million, Wirtz for 130 million?
So what? They didn't spend.
And they record profits though, Mo, as well as now going into the and also they're going to play Club World Cup as well. So
okay, let me do the math. Camavinga will cost about 80-90 million. Wirtz is going to cost 120 million. That is 200 million.
Yeah, but
Cambiasso is going to be cost like 56 million.
But Mo, it will be spread out over a period of their contract. Like,
so you think that City will spend close to
no way
to 300 something million?
Okay, but still they don't sign Camavinga and they sign someone else of a similar sort of cost or level. Like they could potentially spend that money. I'm pretty sure they could, because the other thing 100%. Is these clubs are now, because hasn't it not reset the 3 years, so they're willing to now spend.
Oh, no, guys, the 3 years don't reset. It's an accumulative thing. What is it? The word, Jamie?
consecutive. So like 3 years.
It's a consecutive. Past. So every year you look back 3 years. The year after you look back 3 years.
Okay,
it goes like this.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're talking about challenging, and City will be challenging next season.
I reckon they could spend up to 250, 300 million this summer.
They spent a lot in January. I don't know if they're going to spend a lot in the summer again.
Yeah, but they didn't spend the summer before that, which is why I feel, I don't know. I think the
signings were supposed to be last summer, and then they delayed it. Yeah. So they did it in January, so they have to wait until this summer. Highly doubt, because you know what? When's the last time they did that? 170 in January, and then 250 as an example.
Because also if they earn 100 million off the Club World Cup as well, the money you'll be able to spend for earning 100 million will be at least like a couple of times that amount, because that's what it allows you to do. You don't just have to spend what comes in; you can still make a loss.
They'll probably have like some players off the books as well. Like De Bruyne is obviously going to leave. They might sell 1 or 2 other players.
Their wages will be down massively, Jamie. You're right.
Yeah. So like that'll help. But like they'll have a minus 40 points deduction, so that'll obviously hinder their title.
You guys don't think that if Arsenal keep their players fit, sign a Gyökeres, which is they're very linked to, get Gyökeres, get a left winger, Arsenal should be favourites to win the title next season.
If Arsenal win the Champions League and sign a striker, then I think the conversation is completely
even
different.
if they don't win the Champions League, you don't think that they can be favourites?
Then I would wonder where their mentality is at, because they would have been nearly men for so many, and I think there'd be unbelievable pressure then on Arteta.
So you think he's going to crumble under pressure?
I don't know.
Most likely, what I mean.
Well, he might not crumble under the pressure, but he might just continue to fail to deliver, which is what he's currently doing, unless that changes this season. Another trophyless season only applies more pressure to him.
Fair. That's a fair argument. I can't argue back against this, Dan. You know, like telling me that Arteta might crumble under pressure based on what we have seen over the last 3 years. Probably you're more right than wrong.
I have no evidence that it'll crumble. I just personally think that how long can he keep going without winning something? Say they don't win the Champions League this year. How easy is it to turn up to training again and motivate the players again to go one more time when they've already failed twice for a Premier League? They've gone all in to win the Champions League. They might not have won that. That's what I was saying. If they win it, I think it's a completely different conversation.
But that's why, Dan, I think it depends on the signings, because I think if we end up reaching a Champions League final and we lose, I think those signings itself provide a big boost to the players. If we get in
mentally, they have to up the level and challenge the players in the dressing room.
If we get someone like Gyökeres and I don't know, whichever top quality left winger out there in the market, and we sign someone, I think that itself kind of tells a lot of players in the team, especially the core players. I'm not talking about the fringe players. The core players look at these signings and think, okay, we can go a level higher.
It depends on that year Liverpool lost in the final, in my opinion. Because remember, they started their trophy haul under Klopp with the Champions League.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't remember that. They didn't win anything before that.
I am not building my assumption, guys, based on Arsenal winning the Champions League.
I think
that's the hypothetical.
I am not building. You know why? Because actually, if you ask me, will Arsenal win the league next season, the Champions League this season, I'm still not convinced that Arsenal will go and do it in the Champions League, because I think. Like we doubted City, but at that time, by the way, even everyone doubted City to win that Champions League, and City were the best team in the world at that kind of moment in the triple season. Arsenal are not the best team in the world. To get that first Champions League over the line, Dan will know about this in 2012.
But Chelsea were not the best team in the world when they won it.
Have to be.
That's what I mean. It's very hard to do. It requires a lot of work. I remember the semi-final against Barcelona that Chelsea played. That was a war. That wasn't a football game.
Though, but there was also a lot of luck on that journey and a lot of like fight backs. But it's actually a very limited amount of games, isn't it? It's not, to be the best team in the world over a consecutive period of like 38 games in a league. I think that puts you in the conversation to be one of the top 5 teams in the world if you manage to do that in a season.
100%.
That's why Liverpool have been in that discussion this season. Obviously, they lost to good opposition in the Champions League, but they've definitely been one of the better teams in the world this season. Hence, Barcelona in that conversation. Inter Milan have been in that conversation as well. PSG. I don't think doing it over a consistent period is what makes you considered to be one of the best teams in the world.
I don't think with the Arsenal thing as well, Mo. I'd probably think the opposite. Like, I remember when Liverpool lost that Champions League final in 2018 to Real Madrid, and what Klopp, there was Henderson came out after and spoke about like what Klopp had said in the dressing room. He's like, we're building towards something, we're moving towards something. I think Arsenal are maybe a year ahead of that, where they probably would have wanted to win a trophy. But I think if they got to a Champions League final, the performance they put in against Real Madrid, I think if they were to go out and sign like that kind of player that can change their team, then I think the Arsenal fans would feel, or maybe the Arsenal players more, would feel like that they can take that next step and go on and win a trophy. So I think I understand like maybe it would be demoralizing in that moment, but I think they would see like, right, we have Rice, we have Saliba, we have Raya, who's like a really competent goalkeeper. You have Timber, who's locked down Vinicius. If they went, and Saka is one of the best right wingers in the world. If they went out and bought a striker, then I think they would be like, right, I think we're ready now to take that step and win a trophy next year.
I agree. What about City? Staffy has a very strange take about City.
What?
About Pep Guardiola.
Listen, bro, I just said that he was showing signs of being washed, and I think it's very valuable. That's the. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The guy's been playing Matheus Nunes in right back, then complaining about him not being good enough. Meanwhile, his midfield being ran all season, playing Gundogan there with no legs. He puts in Nico Gonzalez, and the midfield looks better. But then he benches him for a long time, and people question why he's not playing the youth. I think that some of the things that I mentioned actually came from a lot of City fans. I just pay attention to what other fan bases say, and I'm like, you know what, this makes sense or not. So that doesn't mean that next year they won't do anything. Where are they sitting right now? 5th or 4th?
5th. I think 5th.
Here, fucking, I did a video the other day and I was saying about Forest have like come to be gonna get it. Then I looked at the league, I was like, oh shit, they're in trouble.
I literally said that on the show the other week.
They're 6 now. They're 6 now, and they have to play tonight against
they have
Spurs.
to win tonight to keep like,
which is a guarantee
live. Like, yeah.
Forest dropped crazy. They lost. This it shows you how close that top 4 race was. They lost 2 games in a row, and they went from 3rd to 6th.
Has Wood's goals have kind of dried up though, haven't they, for quite a period now? I mean, he had a little bit of an injury, and he's definitely like that was such a huge contribution to them earlier on in the season. That's we kind of said. I remember speaking to Wolfie about this. If his goals dry up, what are your options going forwards? Like, where are your goals coming from? And he said, we'll find them from somewhere. But at the moment, I don't think they are really.
I'm not sure if they're gonna finish, to be honest, in the top 6. However, they have the easiest running.
And they play
Chelsea at home. However,
no, they have a tough running.
They have a hard. They got hard games, Mo.
Talking about who? Forest. The easy one.
No,
everyone says the easy one.
Chelsea, City. I think they might.
They don't play City. They don't play City. That's in the
no. Actually, they have an easy run.
They have an easy running, people.
After Spurs. After Spurs.
Wait, Mo, hold on. Look at this. They play Spurs. Listen, I understand Spurs are not good this season, but playing Spurs at home, they could come up with a result. Then they got City in the semifinal, so they'll be focused on the semifinal. And then on Thursday, they got Brentford. And by the way, Mbeumo and Wissa are combining for what was, I looked at, I think it was 34 goals this season. That's 5 goals off what Mohamed Salah and Mane did in 2021, I believe. So they're putting, by their own standards, that's a historic season for them.
Yeah, but they don't play well away from home, Staffy. They play really bad away from home.
I get it.
Can I tell you one thing about this, about what you're talking about?
Then, hold on, I was going to say, then they got Palace away, and Palace away is not an easy game. Leicester at home, all right, that's a game. But then West Ham away and Chelsea at home. These are not really the easiest of fixtures, I'll be honest.
I can tell you guys, this is not the easiest fixtures because it's Nottingham Forest. If this was Man City, Arsenal, or Liverpool, we would say this is an easy running. Nottingham Forest, for me, even though they have been 3rd all season, have not done enough, and they don't have enough stars or the history behind them for me to sit here and say, yeah, they're gonna win against Brentford. They're gonna win against Palace away, for example. I actually don't trust them to win against Chelsea the last game.
Will they beat Spurs tonight?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But where is it? Where is it played?
Spurs, at Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I don't know, Dan.
With Miguel van der Ven and Romero back.
That's a guaranteed 3 points. So 17 losses this season.
Yeah.
I think they beat Spurs. I think they do. Off the back of that,
if they do beat Spurs, I might change my mind, Dan, about what I say.
It would be the most Spursy thing to
you know what?
I'm gonna and then lose at home today.
Yeah. Can I tell you one thing? I actually think, on paper, for a top team, this is an easy running. But do you consider Nottingham Forest a top team? I think if you ask yourself this question, you would actually start thinking, is this an easy running or not? This can be a very hard run-in for a team like Fulham, for example, or a Bournemouth. but it's not as hard for Arsenal. Do you consider Nottingham Forest a top team in the league this season?
Yeah, should
You
have
guys
been in the
tell
top.
me.
They've been in the top.
This season, yeah, but I don't think you need to look at is this a top team or not. You just need to look at how has this team been performing this season
Okay,
based
so
on
Chris Wood
this season's
is without a
performance.
goal in 1, 2, 3,
He was injured, to be
4,
fair.
5, 6.
Perfect.
Yeah, but he actually has played in these games. He's played 85, 8, 87, 80, 90. So and 90. So he's without a goal in quite some time. And I think ultimately they
So that plays a factor as well. That plays a factor.
And you have
as well.
to look at the
actually
teams around
only
them as well.
scored in 2 of his last 10, 11 games.
Many points are they going to need to say for top 5 like teams?
65 to 70.
Would it be? Is that like the normal average, or would it be a
Yeah.
little bit lower because it's
So I
5
think
now?
last season Chelsea got 65 and finished 6th.
Okay.
They haven't
wait,
played well in a while.
what
Be honest.
about-
Like I'm looking at the results right now. The last time they had a
Not
really
great,
good game
Staffy, is it?
was when they beat Ipswich.
Hmm.
They beat
So-
us 1-0. It was that freak Alanga goal in the beginning of the game. They didn't particularly play well that game. Then they lost to Villa. Then they lost to Everton.
So
They
probably
had
need
that,
three
that
three
Brighton
wins.
quarterfinal in the middle when it went to penalties.
3 or 4
The thing is, the
wins
teams
for the last
around them
6
are not good enough to get. Like if you look at Villa's fixtures, they play Man City away tomorrow. They play Fulham at home. They play Bournemouth away, which is very difficult. They play Spurs at home, and then United away in the last game. Probably they'll win that, to be honest. But outside, like they have difficult fixtures too. Newcastle, I think, have to play away against Arsenal. I'm not sure who else do Newcastle. They play
Newcastle's
away against
fixture
Brighton.
It's okay, I think. Brighton are in poor
They're grand.
form.
Newcastle
Is
are
it?
fine.
I
what
don't know,
Arsenal
man,
are.
because
I
they
know
play
Arsenal are.
Brighton away, they play Chelsea at home, they play Arsenal away. I don't think these are easy fixtures.
Well, Arsenal have pretty much given up on the league. Chelsea are probably not too much of an issue for Newcastle at this moment in time. And I think Brighton are all over the place.
Hmm.
Maybe.
I think
if you look
Newcastle
at
will make
Chelsea
it. I
and
think Newcastle will
Forest,
make
I think-
because of who they
I think
play,
Forest
and
will make it as
Chelsea
well.
probably have the toughest 2 run-ins, I think. And maybe Villa just because of congestion.
Doesn't the win yesterday give you a little bit of hope
No,
about games
because
like Forest away?
80 minutes, I honestly just felt like it was the same story again. And we did really well to turn it around. And I have to credit a young kid coming on being the only player that sort of looked to get us out of trouble when we've pretty much relied on one person for the last 2 seasons in Cole Palmer. And then Neto obviously scored a good goal. And we've definitely criticised him at times. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't find the confidence there because that's against a Fulham team that until they beat Liverpool the other week, I thought they were on holiday. They looked really poor before they played Liverpool. They managed to got a result, Jamie, right? And then after that, they then lost another game. And then against Chelsea, they were 1-0 up, but they never really got out of second gear for them. And they never went on to go and win that or go and win the game when it was there for the taking. First half, for sure. Second half, when I saw 6 minutes go up on the clock, I thought, do you know what? We're probably going to nick it here.
But
we
and you
got
did,
tougher
so the
teams
moments
to
are
play.
there. But the moments are there for you.
Yeah, but the
Maybe these
consistency is
moments-
not
The
there. no?
moments aren't there, Mo. The moments
At the
aren't there.
in these last games, the moments is all what mattered in these situations. Like for example, Newcastle against Aston Villa were trying and trying and trying. It took moments from Aston Villa to beat them 4-1, right? Even though you look at the game itself, I don't think it's an even game, but Villa had the moments and Newcastle didn't. Chelsea
Yeah,
yesterday, same story.
but you can make that argument that okay, Newcastle didn't have the moments, but because of the consistency, they'll probably get the results in other games.
Yeah.
Chelsea could have the moments against Fulham, but because they don't have that consistency, it might not happen for them in other games. Moments are a lot rarer to bank on versus consistency is at least something you can say, yeah, I didn't get the result today, but I'll probably get it in 3 of the next 5 games.
Well, Liverpool had the whole season based on Mohamed Salah's moments when the team didn't play well.
No, it
They
was
won
not
a
moments.
league
It was
based on
Salah's
moments.
consistency. It was Salah's consistency. Stop.
Yeah,
But
it
he's
wasn't
consistent in getting moments.
No, but consistency.
Never become
Moments is like
moments, to be
something that
fair,
happens every
anymore.
so often. Consistency is like scoring a goal every game or contributing a goal.
Maybe
Every
has
game.
like 3
Exactly.
moments a game, then 2 moments a game, then 3 moments a game, then 1 moment a game.
Yeah.
It's not moments.
No,
anymore, it's too
what I
many.
mean
They're not
by
moments,
this,
exactly.
What I
It's
mean by this is
expected.
Mohamed Salah for some games, and a lot of games, he wouldn't have the greatest game on the pitch. But when
but we
you
know
want
that about
someone
him.
when you want someone to bail you out, Mohamed Salah. Chelsea don't have that because Cole Palmer this season, he has done it last season. This season, he hasn't. Right? He hasn't. But if Chelsea can find these things at the end of the season, when a player can score a goal like Tariq George or Neto or Sancho comes up with the moment that he did a week ago, maybe they start to win games without the performances being amazing.
Draw, wasn't it? Sancho's goal. It's for a 2-2 draw.
Against Ipswich.
To come from behind against Ipswich.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean,
which won't help them in the long run.
Our moments in recent games have come against Fulham, where the 90% of the performance was really poor, and a better side probably go more than one ahead against Chelsea with our defensive record this season. And then also, Chelsea would probably more likely capitulate. Chelsea's moments this season have come from lackluster performances, a little bit of individual brilliance, but has not really meant much going forwards because consistency hasn't been something we've been able to put together as soon as we've had that moment happen.
Chelsea's run-in is horrific as well.
It is so bad.
Chelsea, so they're playing Everton at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Man United at home, and then Forest away.
If Maresca actually manages to do it, I'll hold my hands up and give him credit because I think it'll be his best spell of the whole season.
Would you keep him? If he stumbles across the line because Villa's losing to City, because Forest are losing, blah, blah, blah. Do you think he has done enough to get another year for you? Analyzing the season.
For me, what Maresca's done and the way he's spoken to the fans, I think that relationship has completely broken down with him at Chelsea Football Club now. And I don't know what the board think, but I mean, yesterday, the Fulham game, the stuff that was being sung was as toxic as I've seen in years, to be honest. And then some Chelsea fans complained that he didn't come over at the end of the game, but we were singing obscenities to him.
He would get booed if he went over.
Yeah. He was on the end of some pretty awful stick, to be honest. So I think that relationship's completely broken down. Although they do say football fans are fickle, but I'm not sure.
We'll see. I'm not sure about Chelsea. The problem is, I backed Chelsea earlier this season because I saw the signs of you playing well and all the stuff. And then suddenly he was figured out. His tactics are not working. You're not winning games. I think someone said something about the number of points you accumulated lately since game week 18, and it will put you 10th or 12th or something like this. And that is astonishing, actually, because you started the season very well. And I'm not sure.
16 games without a goal or 15 games without a goal.
He's horrific. Then did you watch him yesterday? What is this, bro? What is this? I thought he turned the corner in the beginning of the season, and then he comes back from the injury. With all due respect, he's not even a championship level player
before the injury. He actually scored against Aston Villa, from what I remember, in December, but had an awful game, but scored a good goal. And then off the back of that, he's just been woeful. Then he got injured, and then he just doesn't look sharp at all. Cole Palmer, same story. I actually thought first half against Fulham, Cole Palmer was sort of getting on the ball more, was probably playing on the side of the pitch that I think he probably looks better in. And then second half, obviously Maresca changed up the tactics, and Maresca will feel now that the second half was better because we won. But I don't think Cole Palmer was nearly as involved as much as he was compared to the first half.
I'm not sure. Just to be honest, I get what you're saying. Now he's getting involved again, but he's not contributing. He hasn't scored in 12 games.
With Chelsea, with Forest, with Villa, with Newcastle, and we talk about consistency in moments. With all of these with all these teams, all of them are looking for consistency. That's what they all want, but that's why they're where they are, because they don't have that consistency to be at the top of the league. So they will rely on moments sometimes. And I think, listen, Chelsea have a tough run in, but it's up in the air now, I think, a little bit more. And I think they're winning against Fulham and scoring in that kind of late moment. And it puts all that pressure now on Forest, because that looked like an impossible task where they were going to be able to catch Forest, Man City. But now they're ahead of them, and Forest are the ones chasing. Do you know what I mean? So, it could go anyway.
If Forest do win tonight, and they've got a favourable game, in my opinion, against Spurs, if they do win, they go 3 points ahead of Chelsea again. Chelsea are 3 points off that race again.
But you're the only one who thinks Forest will win.
Sorry, what are we talking about? Spurs
have
lost 17 games. They have been absolutely woeful this season. Nottingham Forest could beat Spurs with or without Chris Wood in form.
Friday is not that far then. We'll see. I still think that Spurs will nick something this game.
Right.
They could do. But I think with the way they're playing off the back of the Europa League, I think Forest are probably more likely.
I think that Spurs at home might nick something out of Nottingham Forest, especially the way they play. think we'll see. Like the game is not that far, to be honest, but it's just not. I don't know. Like I can't trust Nottingham Forest, but I also can't trust Chelsea. Then,
but there is for me at this point of the season, I think the incentive to gain points plays a massive part in the mentality that you have going into the game. And I just don't see the incentive for Spurs players to go out there and fight for the points as much as I see it being important for Nottingham Forest. They've been fighting all season for their dream to play in the Champions League. I just feel like they're going to have more of a want to go and beat Tottenham.
100%, I agree with you.
What does 3
100%.
points do for Spurs right now?
But then wouldn't that same logic?
No, the 3 points does not. The 3 points. He could win every game to the end of the season, and I think that relationship would still be completely broken with Spurs fans unless he wins them in Europa League, which they'll probably take because they accept way below mediocrity.
Go ahead, Ashraf.
No, I was going to say, wouldn't that same logic apply then for the Everton-Forest game? Like Forest lost against Everton. I don't think Everton have anything to play for, and Forest have a lot to play for, and they still ended up losing that game after losing the previous week to Aston Villa.
Well,
like I just feel
Everton, every penny counts for Everton, doesn't it? So they're going to be looking at trying to finish higher, I think, because of where their finances are at. Whereas I don't view that being an issue.
I hear the point. Yeah, they're not looking for that 5 million.
And also,
more, 10 million
Moyes
more.
has come into Everton and realizes how important it is to take form from this season into next season for them to have a good season.
Can I ask you guys a question? Not maybe relevant to top four, but it's just that we were talking about Liverpool's attack early on. Obviously, only Salah has been on form. The others have not been great. Chelsea's attack has been underwhelming given expectations. I think start of the season, a lot of people had Chelsea as one of the best attacks, at least in squad depth. What would you guys say are the top 3 attacks right now in the league in terms of quality? Overall, you cannot just tell me one player, like the full attack.
Hoyland, Garnacho, and...
Stop, come on.
Guys, we need to joke.
I'm serious because I think start of the season.
An hour 30 minutes. It's fine. You know that I'm joking. You know it's sarcastic.
Okay, I know. I'll throw some names out there. I would say Brentford. I would say City.
It's not a bad shout.
And I would probably say Newcastle.
You'd still say City right now.
Who are the top 3 goal scorer? The top 3 goal scoring teams in the league.
How many goals has Haaland got this season? He's still got 20. Probably no.
Yeah, but then that's one player. That's why I'm saying.
I think Marmoush's form since he's come in has been a goal every other game. So I think they've been good in terms of those two being their output, and probably Newcastle or Villa.
I was going to say Newcastle second for me.
Yeah, Villa's front line is good at the moment. I feel.
I'd say Liverpool. Liverpool have to be first because
but Jamie, you got one player. I mean, you got one player doing his job unbelievably.
I think they have another one who contributes well. Gakpo. I know he's been cold in the last month or two, but majority of the season,
he's had a better season.
Gakpo is, I think he's 20 goal contributions. Diaz is like over 20 now as well. I think it's just because of Salah's levels are so high. You just think that the others don't contribute because anytime something happens, it's Salah. But I still think Liverpool have the best attack in the league right now. I just think as well.
If you ask me
because we have Nunes, everyone's like, nah, he's not a striker.
Can you ask me something? Forget Nunes, Diaz, Gakpo, everything. No signing, nothing. Would you replace your front 3 next season with the front 3 of Newcastle and the bench as well?
What? So get rid of Salah.
So you get forget Salah this season because Ashraf's question is who's the best attack? Not this season, right? Who would you?
Not this season. Like right now,
not quality. This season. Quality wise, you go into next season. No one is signing anyone.
Yeah.
Who has the best attack?
City.
I actually think it's Newcastle. I think Isak is better than Haaland. I think Gordon is better than all their wingers at the current moment. Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, both of them make one player that contributes a lot of goals.
You can't tell me a right winger, a team with right winger, Jacob Murphy playing right wing.
Do you know how many GA does Jacob Murphy have?
But he's playing really well. But you're saying don't compare this season. He's just playing really well this season. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to continue on.
I actually think...
Yeah, that's fair, Jamie, but they still win the other 2 positions, no?
I think Diaz, Gakpo, and you could throw in Gordon. Like Liverpool went for Gordon in the summer, but they decided not to go with it. I think Isak is obviously the one, but like if you're putting Salah, Isak, do you know what I mean? Like
Barnes is currently putting up better GA by quite a bit than goals per minute actually than thingy.
He hasn't got
What's his
goal.
name?
But Barnes has never done it consistently.
Gordon. Barnes is outperforming Gordon by quite a bit.
But he's never done it consistently. He's always had like a big injury during the season. You know what I mean? So
but,
like that's something to take into account.
That's why he's outperforming Jamie, because when he is actually fit and available, he does do it consistently. Harvey Barnes.
Yeah,
that's why he's outperforming Gordon. It's just he can't put minutes together consistently.
Yeah, so then put that I mean, like over the course of the season, then you wouldn't want him. Do you know what I mean?
Because if I look at City's attack with Savinho, Marmoush, Haaland, isn't that City's attack, or am I missing someone?
City have the best attack because Haaland still would have been on course for 25, 30 goals. And
I think Isak is better than him. Would you agree?
No.
Yeah.
Not in terms
of I don't think that Isak is better than Haaland.
No, because hasn't Isak only just hit Haaland's numbers?
Staffy, you're muted, by the way.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's kind of hard to say that. You can always argue that Isak is the best overall player, but like when you do score at Haaland's rate, you can't just easily say someone is better than him because he might be a better footballer.
Okay, right. This is what I'm saying, Staffy. 100% true. Isak has only just got to 21 goals. Haaland's been out injured, and he's been on 21 for ages.
But isn't that because of the level of chance creation for him? Like, if I look at conversion, Isak's conversion is over 30%.
Yeah, but goals per 90 is 0.78 and 0.76. They're like
but goals per 90 contribute to the number of goals you scored. But chance conversion is how many chances. Like, for example, let me give you an example.
What's the difference? If there's 3% on their conversion rate.
No, it's way less. I think Haaland is way below.
I don't know that the Haaland conversion rate.
There's not much in it at all. Honestly, I looked the other day and I thought Isak was having a way better season than Haaland. He's not at all. He's literally pretty much tied.
Goals wise, yeah. Like
Haaland is the best striker in the Premier League. He is.
But he's best goal scorer. I don't know if
to be honest with you guys, I think Isak has everything at his disposal. Like if I'm watching both players now, finishing, I'll take Isak. You know what I mean? Ball control, I'll take Isak. Hold up play, I'll take Isak. Chance creation, I'll take Isak. Dribbling, I'll take Isak. Like there is nothing that Haaland can do apart from one thing: strength. Even speed, both of them are very quick. Maybe Haaland is quicker than him, but Haaland is not quick with the ball. That is the thing. So for me, Isak can dribble better. So I think, in my opinion, that Isak edges overall in every aspect.
By the way, and chance conversion, like Isak is at 33.33%, Haaland is at 24%. Like 33.33% is mental, like conversion rate for a striker.
That's
very high.
Basically, 50% more chances converted, like 50% more.
Is that
so like
all,
24.
No, it's only Premier League. Sorry, I'm only looking at Premier League for both of them. I haven't looked at the other comps.
Like, to be honest with you, I don't think any team in the Premier League, just maybe that's a wild take, but I think I like to think that is what it is. I don't think if you gave any team in the league the choice between Haaland and Isak, anyone would choose Haaland. Liverpool wouldn't. Arsenal wouldn't. Chelsea
definitely
maybe
a better
wouldn't.
player in terms of output. He will consistently over a period of however long Haaland's been playing, he is proven to be outputting better than Isak.
But do you not think, Dan, that let's talk about Chelsea this season specifically? Do you not feel that this season specifically, someone like Isak could sometimes do things out of nothing versus Haaland, who would be relying heavily on your wingers and your attacking midfielder to create?
That comes down to a different metric in terms of squad building and how you set up your team to play. But in terms of the best attack, Haaland's output is only bettered this season by Salah. And in terms
but I'm asking for your team. So because you said for Chelsea you would take Haaland, but for the way your team is set up, do you not think Isak fits in better?
No,
just to go on most questions.
Because I believe there's like 4 or 5 players and inverted fullbacks that would occupy the area that Isak would want to thrive in. Whereas I feel like Haaland just needs to be in there to score goals, which I actually think Nicholas Jackson did well for a period of time at the beginning of the season. Just put the ball in the back of the net. He was on good form. I think Haaland would be the perfect fit for the way Maresca currently has his team set up.
Spamming crosses and stuff. Well, listen, we'll see. Yeah, I'm probably all right. Haaland, Martinelli's in the form. I don't think there's any time. An hour, 30 minutes is enough. Thank you so much for everyone that stayed here. Hit that like button, guys. We're almost at 300 likes. It's still about 650 to 700 people floating in the show. Fantastic and a great discussion about the title race and the top 5 race and the best attack. Yeah, stay here. Of course, this will take it to Football Terrace with the top 6. I want to thank Staffy TV, Dan, of course, channel is in the description as well. Ashraf Talks Football. Of course, Jamie's story, the football story in the description as well. Go and check out his videos. He just dropped the video on his channel as well. So go, and Tom Little, who was talking about Trent. Thank you for everyone that watched us. Hit that like button before you go. Oh no, there is a super chat that I didn't do. Chelsea fans are now comparing George at 19 to Saka.
It's only looks wise, isn't it? He's now evil Saka, but
Evil Saka.
I don't think in terms of
like everyone gets compared to Saka at 19 now. It's an obsession.
I actually think in recent weeks since he returned from injury, Saka's pretty much silenced any comparison there was against him.
In the world, did you notice? It's not only in England.
Yeah.
Even in Spain,
like Rodrigo and Vinny and that sort of thing.
Even in Spain now, when they asked Real Madrid players, I think, who would you want to take at your Real Madrid fans outside the stadium? Everyone said Saka. It's very strange, actually, the comparison between Rodrigo and Saka. They asked.
Wait, post game? Because before game, I saw the thing they were saying Rodrigo.
Yeah,
No.
Post game.
They didn't ask them to compare the players. They asked Real Madrid fans, which Arsenal player would you like to have at Real Madrid? And everyone said Saka. Everyone said Bukayo Saka.
It's kind of mad how the world has fallen because, like, can you imagine if Robben was in this debate right now? Like, it wouldn't even be close, would it?
Yeah, I think it would be tough.
Depends. I don't think Robin at 22. What was Robin at 22?
Robin at 22 was.
He won the league with Chelsea. I know,
Yes.
but
Yes.
but I don't know. Like wingers back then weren't getting the output of some of these wingers now. I
Yeah.
guess depends.
Especially in a 4-4-2. That's facts.
Yeah.
I'd say that's
Because I feel-
Robin was 4-3-3.
Saka graduated from
Robben was
certain
4-3-3
conversations,
when he
bro.
won the league with Chelsea.
He's no longer in these conversations. Like he graduated from that. For me, I'll never put him in some conversation like that anymore.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think that's the level we're now at, is that we're comparing him to the greats of the game that have got their whole track record proven, that he's now into
I wouldn't go
discussion.
that far. I'm not comparing him to the greatest yet, because at the end of the day, I always say this: there's so many metrics that we can use when we compare players. For me, as an example, like when I compare greats, not just current players, but greats, always look at their peak, how long their peak was, their longevity in the game. And when like at the end, I still can't decide, I'd like to say, you know what, put your medals on the table. Obviously, if you're a big factor to these medals, I can never start that conversation with Saka until he has one real medal. I don't care about the FA Cup one. He was a part of the squad. He didn't even play in the final. He wasn't a big factor. The minute he starts putting silverware, that's where I'm going to start comparing them.
Medals on the table has no measure against ability. Like it.
Yeah.
Like you can put medals on the
Do you
table.
think he's world class now, Staffy?
Guys, you didn't hear what he said. There is a point that you guys missed. He has to be a big factor in winning these medals. For example, like Gerrard in the Champions League. You
Yeah,
cannot
but
tell me
Mo, is that
Traore-
for
Traore
legacy?
is a left back because he has
Maxwell
a
can
Champions
come with 3 full suitcases.
Yeah,
of
but
medals.
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
League.
So that's what we missed. That's what we missed. You have to be the big factor in winning these medals.
Yeah, so question. Staffy, do you mean in terms of building the legacy, or do you mean in terms of him being world class now?
No,
because
he's
some people say
world-class,
unless
he's
he wins
world-class player. But then
then I agree.
He's starting
Then
to
I
get
agree.
compared to like some greats in the Premier League or whatever. I said
No,
I'll
that's
never
ridiculous.
start
Yeah.
that until he could put at least one medal on the table. Because I said,
Ability-wise,
that is my list.
ability-wise,
It's the last thing I
you can enter
use.
that discussion though. Ability-wise, Saka is showing. that
Yeah,
there is
ability-wise
talent
you can,
there.
but not
But there's
legacy.
always been great players in the league with
But
ability. Dan.
when
We
did I
don't compare them to each other.
when did I bring up legacy or medals? I didn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just
No,
said
you didn't.
ability-wise.
You didn't. I know you didn't. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I'm
For
not
me to start
putting-
this
I'm not
conversation, you
discussing
need
the
to win
medals
stuff.
because ultimately that's actually out of Saka's control unless he can pull Arsenal through and win it on his own. Winning medals is a team-based thing unless it's individual
then you're
trophies
still
and
missing what I
then
said.
they're opinion-based. Unless it's statistical output that wins you set trophies, they're actually out of a player's control unless the
So
other
can I
9,
ask you a
10
question
players
then
in the team
regarding
carry
this?
as well.
Can I ask you a question then regarding this? If Saka continues at Arsenal, produce magic numbers year in, year out for the next 3-4 years, massive performances, great performances, but Arsenal don't win anything, and he ends his career there, 7 years at Arsenal, 7 great years at Arsenal, would you compare him to Arjen Robben, for example, who won the Champions League and the treble with Bayern and the league with Chelsea?
I think it depends how much more he develops, but ability-wise, he's definitely starting to show that he's a level above probably where we all thought he was.
Absolutely, 100%. No, I'm not even agree.
But Mo, I can throw that question to you. Is Harry Kane not one of the best strikers to ever play?
Yeah, exactly, he is. And Harry Kane, unfortunately, doesn't have the medals and the accolades there to put on the table with other strikers who have done way less in terms of ability.
Yeah, but he has a lot of personal accolades as an example. Like I could say he has all these
because of his ability and the numbers he's been able to put up. He's won awards like top scorer at the World Cup, Premier League Golden Boots, because he's been
like if Saka puts a 2020 season and he doesn't win a Premier League, I wouldn't be stupid enough to say, oh, but it won nothing, so I'm not going to count it.
It doesn't mean that ability-wise, he's not in the top 5 strikers we've ever seen in our lifetimes. Because he is.
Exactly, I agree with you.
Harry Kane, without a shadow of a doubt.
Exactly, right? But he hasn't got the medal and the trophy.
Anyone that comes with the banter about Harry Kane, but he hasn't won anything. But we watch the football. We know that Harry Kane is a great striker. Like we know.
The eye test. That's what's there for you to see with your own eyes. Is this guy is this good, but he doesn't have medals to back it up. But it doesn't mean he wasn't good with what he was doing with the footwear at his feet.
No, he was great. Harry Kane. I would take Harry Kane over a lot of strikers that won Champions Leagues.
Yeah,
like
Inzaghi.
Yeah, Gilardino scored in the final.
And Inzaghi played a role in them winning the Champions League. So I'm not naming a random bum. I'm naming an actual striker who scored in the final, 2 goals in the final. But yeah, this is the argument. I know Wolfie is usually shameless, so maybe he's the worst person to reference in this case. But this is why I had the argument with him on Hassam's channel where he was saying to be world class, one of the qualifying criteria is to win a trophy. And I was like, that makes no sense, because by that logic, Harry Kane turns into world class after he wins the Bundesliga this season when nothing's changed about him. He's the same player. He's still scoring at the same level. He's still winning games.
Yes, I hear your point.
And this crap about he doesn't show up in big games.
I think you made a mistake the minute you referenced Wolfie.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. Yeah,
that's on you, honestly. That's really on you.
Big up Wolfie.
Yeah, but it's not just Wolfie. Many people, and people, they say he doesn't show up in big games. I think the Inter Milan game is because they're like, oh, he's not come clutch before.
He showed up in the second game. He scored an amazing goal to bring him back to the tie.
Exactly. Like, but they're like, oh, but he didn't pass to Sterling.
I think there are 2 things. There are sometimes we keep arguing within ourselves, with panels, us or others or something, and then comes one event that proves that everything what we were bantering about and talking about is invalid. Because Ashraf said, okay, Harry Kane, you keep beating the guy up with like, okay, you haven't won a medal. Okay, now he won the Bundesliga. Okay, so even though he's the same player that you were saying he's not world class, but because he won the Bundesliga with a superior team like Bayern, now he becomes world class.
Mo, he has 80 goals since he went to Bayern. That's in less than 2 seasons. Like, these are insane numbers, bro. Anyone that doesn't think he's world class,
you know what I mean? No trophies.
Banter, honestly.
Like, yeah, I get what people are saying, but that is the proof that sometimes when you discuss players' ability, you cannot just come with that. He hasn't won a trophy. When we watch him being the 2nd highest goal scorer ever in the Premier League, he's literally carrying Spurs for years, carrying that attack with Son for years. He goes to Bayern Munich. If Harry Kane's win the Bundesliga this season and retires, we will call him world class just because he won 1 Bundesliga at a team that always wins the Bundesliga.
Which is dumb, bro. Which is dumb. Honestly, it's the dumbest argument to make. It's trophies are important when maybe you're trying to do direct comparisons. But if I'm going peak for peak Ronaldo, peak Messi, all right, let's talk about maybe medals, because we know both these teams were carrying, both these players were carrying their teams to that. This whole argument about just medal, bro, we had Anderson win 5 Premier Leagues at United. We used to joke around and say Anderson is better than Gerrard. No one actually believed that. We just said it to them. We always talked about him being a flop after winning the golden, being the golden boy. He won the golden boy, and then won 5 Premier Leagues, and we talk about him being a flop. Easily, I'm not gonna lie. When you take the context out of it, just go tell anyone, hey, listen, someone won the golden boy, so he was the best youngster in the world. He joined Man United, won a Champions League, won 5 leagues. That's a great career, right? They're gonna be like, wow,
yeah, fantastic. Sounds amazing. He can retire, really.
And then he'll be like, no, it was Anderson. And they're like, oh, never mind. That's a shit career. He barely played. He gained weight. He just wasn't playing well. He was always injured. Come on, man. We can't do that.
I hear you what you're talking about. It's the same as like Man United are the living proof that winning the cups around and winning a cup here and now is actually does not tell where your club is at, because even though Man United are more successful than Arsenal over the last 10 years in terms of trophy-wise.
And they wouldn't swap positions with me. None of them would swap positions with me right now.
Wallahi, I had this discussion yesterday and people told me otherwise. Winning, you win the cups and everything.
It is delusion. It's
like, guys, I said... And we had this. I think we had it on the Kura pod. It was not Sarah, it was someone else who mentioned, yeah, but United won a League Cup and FA Cup. That they were more successful than us. And then they asked me, would you swap our last 2 seasons with theirs? I'm like, you realize for 95 or maybe 99% of the season, United fans are miserable watching their team, not enjoying their football, going on rants. And even at the end of the season, okay, they celebrated that one day and the next day they're like, sack the manager. You're saying you would replace that with our season, where for at least 95% of the season you were enjoying your team and we really had a serious chance of winning something. It's stupidity.
I would swap my last 2 seasons in a heartbeat for Manchester United's last 2
Yeah, but one of those 2 seasons.
Yeah, but your 2 seasons are different. It's different.
And you still sack the manager anyway.
You were 12.
So yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And you also sack the manager after
that doesn't say much, Dan, respectfully. You know, we're both losers here. Who's the biggest loser? That's the difference.
There's always an argument about this. But thank you everyone that joined us. Really appreciate you people. I will see you guys next, and we're out of here, people.